Welcome to the course AI in Action. My objective is to transfer to you how I am using AI to be more productive in my personal life and in business. In this course, we will discuss the following. First, I will explain the history of generative AI and the lessons I have learned from it. Then I will explain the different kind of artificial intelligence. In the third chapter, I will explain how I personally use AI. Fourth, I will explain how to integrate generative AI into your company. 5, I will do an AI strategy simulation. I will take a company and show you how I analyze it, how to find AI opportunities, how to prioritize which opportunities to work on, and how to maximize the return on investment. Next, there will be a chapter on the future of generative AI, and I will share my predictions about where the world of generative AI is going. Finally, I will make a summary and I will share concrete next steps of actions to follow. So first, let's start with the history of generative AI and the lessons I learned from it. Let's start with this video shot 40 years ago by Steve Jobs.
When I was going to school, I had a few great teachers and a lot of mediocre teachers. And the thing that probably kept me out of jail was books, because I could go read what Aristotle wrote or what Plato wrote. And I didn't have to have an intermediary in the way. And a book was a phenomenal thing. It got right from the source to the destination without anything in the middle. The problem was you can't ask Aristotle a question. And I think as we look towards the next 50 to 100 years, if we really can come up with these machines that can capture an underlying spirit or an underlying set of principles or an underlying way of looking at the world, then when the next Aristotle comes around, maybe if he carries around one of these machines with him his whole life, his or her whole life, and types in all this stuff, then maybe someday after the person's dead and gone, we can ask this machine, hey, what would Aristotle have said? What about this? And maybe we won't get the right answer, but maybe we will. And that's really exciting to me. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing.
So Steve Jobs, along with other visionaries and researchers, had been dreaming of this artificial intelligence advancement for decades. The guy is just explaining 40 years ago, in 1985, a technology that is already available today. Then after leaders like this make this dream, the researchers began experimenting. Entrepreneurs took risks. Companies invested billions. And all of them were trying to turn this dream into a reality. Until one critical moment came. In 2017, when Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need. It introduced something called the transformer architecture. Then OpenAI decided to experiment and build a model based on this transformer architecture. What does transformer architecture mean? In simple terms, it means that the model, the artificial intelligence model, can look at all the words in a sentence at once, understand it, then predict the next word. Let's take a simple example. So when the model gets an input prompt like once upon a, it looks at all those words together and then predicts which word is probable to come next. And it says, time. How are you? The sky is blue. So that's how the transformer model works. It checks the previous words, then guesses the next word, then the next, then the next. One word at a time. In the AI industry, they call those words as tokens. But to keep it simple, let's just call them words. So this type of AI models was named GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformers. Any model that understands an input as text, image, audio, or video and produces output like text, image, audio, or video is called Generative Artificial Intelligence Model, or GenAI for short. And we will refer to it as GenAI going forward in this course. Personally, I learned 3 key lessons from this history. Lesson number 1, believing in dreams and betting on scientific research pays off. Today, OpenAI is valued at $300 billion. But even aside from the financial gain, all these efforts and investments from a lot of companies, they gave us the AI revolution we are living in today. So It's a good reminder that science fiction and dreams and taking risks to achieve those dreams is something is very real. It is not only in movies. And I ask myself, what other ideas are in science fiction today? They are just dreams, but one day will be reality in the coming years. Learning number 2 is progress compounds and accelerates. Here is what I mean. This is GPT-1. And when you ask it, why is the ocean salty? The answer is, if you read it, is gibberish. It makes no sense. Very low quality. This was 2018. But they kept trying, kept training the model on more data. NVIDIA kept optimizing the GPUs for AI. Then came GPT-2. Slightly better if you read the answer, but still gives weak answers like the ocean is salt water. Just a basic fact, not a real explanation. Then GPT 3.5 came, much better. Now the model explains properly. And then 4.5 is amazing. The improvement from GPT-1 to GPT 4.5 is massive. So what led to this? This is the compounding I'm talking about. Use more data to train. They had better quality chips. They had more number of chips, GPUs to train with. All of it builds on top of each other, which led to exponential growth. For example, ChatGPT is growing faster than anything we have seen before. It reached 800 million monthly active users in just 26 months. And those visitors, they aren't just quickly visiting ChatGPT website for 1 second and leaving. No. The time spent on ChatGPT is also on an upward trend, and it's increasing. And now it's even higher than Snapchat. And it's catching up to Instagram and then TikTok. And this exponential growth is happening across the entire AI stack. From the bottom layer, the chips like GPUs built by NVIDIA, to the cloud like Azure and Google Cloud, to the models like GPT-4 or Gemini from Google, and finally to the applications. So an application like ChatGPT, it is just an interface. So in the last couple of years, there was advancement across each stage of the AI stack, and it will continue growing in the future. Even David Sachs, the AI czar for the White House, said something remarkable. He predicts 100x improvement in chips, 100x improvement in the cloud, 100x improvement in the models in the next 3 years. So when you multiply 100 by 100 by 100, he's expecting a 1 million fold improvement in just 3 years. So this compounding and acceleration that happened in the past to bring us to this point will continue in the future and will be even faster. My third learning is interfaces and applications matter. So ChatGPT launched in 2022, 2 years before it. So in 2020, OpenAI made GPT-3 available to developers through the OpenAI API. The technology was already available for the public 2 years before ChatGPT was launched. So any big company or developer could have built a simple chatbot interface and introduced it to the public, but it didn't happen. It was OpenAI who had the insight to wrap it in a user-friendly interface, chatgpt.com, and make it easy for humans to chat with this model. So interfaces matter a lot. When OpenAI put the right interface, the adoption skyrocketed. And in the future, the interfaces and application will matter even more. And that's why Sam Altman from OpenAI, he hired Johnny Ive, the legendary designer behind the iPhone, to reinvent the interface again. They are working on a new device, a new way for people to interact with AI. At the end of this course, in the future section, I will share my personal guess on how this device might look like. But this third learning made me ask myself, what level of intelligence already exists today, but it is not being used by the masses, simply because it is hidden inside the model, waiting for the right interface. Every day, I discover new tasks that ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok can do. Things I had no idea were possible before. Every day I discover new things. So really, I'm sure there is today a lot of intelligence available inside those models that is not yet exploited to the maximum. So in summary, the 3 lessons are: believing in dreams and betting on scientific research pays off. Progress compounds and accelerates, and will continue in acceleration in the future. and interfaces and applications matter a lot.